In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the current conditions, diving into that tropical activity because there's two different routes it can really go, and we're going to be taking a look at some severe weather as well. Let's just get straight into things though, and first things first, we're taking a look at our current radar imagery. We do actually have a bigger storm up here in the northwestern United States that is bringing some storminess here into the north central United States as well, and we can see offshore of the east coast there is quite a bit of storminess that passed through yesterday. Some thunderstorms for a lot of areas in here that have now passed offshore. There is a couple still around here inland, but for the most part, most of those storms are offshore, as you can see at this point. Let's zoom into the northwestern United States first things first, and we do see some snowfall. This might be one of the last times we see snowfall in one of our videos for a few months, so soak it in. But for the Cascades, we do have some snowfall coming down there, especially in Washington, but I see some down here in Oregon as well as up here in northeastern Oregon as well. We're seeing some of that. Now, there is some light to moderate rainfall going on for a lot of regions in here. For the lower elevation regions, north of Spokane, we can see that there is some of that more moderate rainfall here. This pocket with those yellows, even south of Spokane there near Kennewick, we can see that there is that heavier rainfall coming down even just east of Seattle as well. If we zoom in here, that is what we're taking a look at. Heavier in here, and as those are crossing over the mountains in here, they are becoming snowfall. Now, as we take a little bit more of a zoomed out look here for the Rockies, we can tell that there is some snowfall mixing in for these mountain ranges here in Montana and Wyoming. So we are seeing some of that coming down as well. South of Missoula there, and kind of just to the northwest of Bozeman is mostly where we're seeing that. Also to the southeast of Bozeman, there is some snowfall coming down right near that Montana and Wyoming border. Now, as we head further southward here into Utah, southern Idaho, portions of Nevada, we do see there is some moderate rainfall coming down for just north of Salt Lake City as well. Absolutely wild stuff here. A lot of folks seeing moderate rainfall actually to heavy rainfall, especially heavy here as we move up into the north central United States here. We can see that there is moderate to heavy rainfall coming down here, even a heavier pocket hitting Minneapolis this morning as you folks are probably waking up out there. The Dakotas dealing with that light to moderate to even heavy rainfall. Again, we all know this, but obviously the greens are going to be your lighter rainfall, the yellows and oranges will be your more moderate rainfall, and then your reds and even pinks if they're showing up, which I do see some of them actually going on here. That is going to be your heavier rainfall. So what I'm talking about is actually down here in South Dakota where we had a pretty intense storm come through, it looks like, with those pinks and even darker reds showing up there at times near Pierre. Redfield, Miller, apparently a very heavy thunderstorm came through that region. And even just south of Minneapolis now we're dealing with a pretty intense thunderstorm near Mankato, giving me some I guess that's Little House on the Prairie throwbacks. I think that's the town they used to go to in that show. So very interesting there. I think they lived in Minnesota. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong or right there on that one, but I think Mankato was a place in Little House on the Prairie. We do see that there is that moderate to heavy rainfall actually extending its way into northern Wisconsin there and even into the upper peninsula of Michigan also. And as we take a look down at Iowa, we can tell there is just this cold front coming through all the way up from that low pressure system extending down through Iowa, Missouri now as well. Some severe thunderstorm warnings coming through as well there for south central Iowa. So pretty intense storminess there, bringing some impacts for a lot of folks there. As we take a look at the northeast, these storms are still impacting this region, but hardly anymore, but they were for quite a while there. As we work our way further south, we can see there is isolated and scattered thunderstorms about and just around for these areas there in the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, the south down here as well for Tennessee, and these areas in here are seeing some of those isolated thunderstorms. So we are seeing some isolated activity for a few spots here, including Florida where it's not that uncommon, but we do see just these very spotty thunderstorms kind of developing there for kind of just this area here south of I-10 in here. So we're seeing some of those take place mostly here in the armpit of Florida is what I've called it a couple of times. We're seeing quite a bit of that activity there north of Tampa Bay and south of Tallahassee. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at that modeled guidance. We're just going to dive into the upcoming storminess, the total rainfall, total snowfall, because there's quite a bit of that coming as well. And then we're going to dive into the temperature pattern, the potential tropical system, which now the National Hurricane Center has a percentage on, so we'll talk about that. And then finally, severe weather at the end of the video. All right, now here we are taking a look at our simulated radar. I'm going to slide it towards this afternoon. Our jet stream is going around just like this. We have this low set up around here. This is bringing this warm front up north, which is that thunderstorm activity, that showery activity that we saw up there in the north central United States. And then a lot of this storminess back west is also associated with this low on the back end of things. So we are seeing that snowfall spread throughout the mountainous regions of the northwest later today. And even as we head towards tonight, things are going to get really intense here for Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. Really, really interesting situation. This is far into June, actually, for this to be happening, but not unheard of. I don't want people to think this is unheard of. It's just really crazy. Not the norm, if that makes sense. But we do see a 992 millibar low pressure center there, bringing a cold front underneath, warm front up to the north as well. And as we spread this towards about well, let's not skip Tuesday here. This is going to be Tuesday afternoon. We do see some thunderstorm activity down here in the southeast. Overall, all of this storminess up here in the northwest is from that low pressure center. Let's keep going with this. This is Wednesday afternoon. This storm is mostly moved up into Canada, as you can see. We do see a bit of a cold front extending underneath here, bringing some storminess up there to the upper Midwest. But still, for Wednesday, we do have a chance at thunderstorms down here in the southeast and really up and down the east coast. It looks like there is some showery activity. Let's keep going with this towards Thursday, and as you can see, we get our big time low right here, bringing a cold front underneath with some storminess along that entire feature taking place. Not too crazy. Friday, still some storminess here in the east, so a lot of rainfall on the way to the east. Our jet stream is doing about like this by this point, so we have a really severe trough here in the west coast and a kind of mini flatter trough going on here in the kind of eastern United States, and then the biggest ridge is going to be around the Rockies here as we approach this weekend. So things in the east will be cooling overall, and out west things are going to be a little flip-floppy, not going to lie. Saturday, we get an even more dramatic trough here in the east, more dramatic ridge in the central, and more dramatic trough there in the east. So west trough, central ridge, east trough there. That's what we're seeing. Sunday afternoon, it's going to be a lot of the same. We do see some storminess developing along that feature. Monday, it's going to be the 20th. We see this storminess still continuing up here in the north central United States. Let's keep going. Tuesday, we're finally seeing this pattern turn into more of a ridge in the east. So we see a little bit of a trough feature here, but it's not going to be too severe. This ridge, however, looks pretty intense, and there is a little bit of cold air still up here in the northwest. And overall, things will be moving eastward, because by Wednesday, we actually see even more of a ridge here in the eastern United States, although there is a storm system developing here, which could pull things down a little bit, and this is very long in the model run, but this is actually going to be Wednesday heading into Thursday, the 22nd into the 23rd. So this is about 10 days out, so obviously take it with a grain of salt, but that is the look as of now. As far as total precipitation, if you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Grays will be about a tenth of an inch or less of precipitation. Greens will be a tenth of an inch to half an inch. Blues will be half an inch to an inch. Yellows will be an inch to 2 inches. Reds will be 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation, which we see some of that up there for Canada and the Rockies. Pretty crazy to see that much precipitation up there. Now for total snowfall, most of this comes over the next 4 days or so, and then almost nothing after that. So we should see this really wind down. But you're expecting a dusting, if anything, in the grays. Your blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purples will be 6 to 10. Your pinks will be 10 to 20. And then your pastels will be 20 inches plus. We are expecting quite a bit of snowfall for these mountainous regions. But afterwards, we're expecting this to really, really calm down, obviously. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on. We're going to take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern, and then we're going to dive into the tropics and eventually the severe weather as well. Now, here is that upcoming temperature pattern as we approach kind of this afternoon. You can see we are going to have hot temperatures in the east here. Really everywhere in here is going to be really, really hot today. And then we're going to see this cooler weather with snowfall for the northwest and raininess, obviously. So very night and day. Tuesday, it gets even more dramatic. We see more cool for the west, more hot for the east. but things are kind of moving, so we are going to see this start to come to an end. Wednesday, it's going to feel like the heat is never ending in the east. The cooling is going to start to subside, though, for Wednesday for the west. This is going to be Wednesday the 15th. We start to see that become less dramatic, and even by Thursday, you see warmer than normal temperatures show up. So we go from like 20 degrees below normal to slightly above normal temperatures in a matter of about 3 days. It is going to feel so different, guys, out west. Just hold on. I promise it's going to start to feel better. Now, out east, things will be cooling down slightly. Very, very slightly, actually. Friday afternoon, it's still pretty hot here in the eastern United States. But as we approach Saturday, we see this trough does start to make its way in and bring cooler temperatures to some of the eastern United States. The west is also dealing with a bit of a trough there for the coast. But everywhere in between, we can see there that there is warmer temperatures. Sunday, we see this trough spreads a bit for the east, still cooler than normal. Also cooler than normal here for the west with warmth in between. Again, that seems to be the trend here. Monday, it's still going to be cooler for similar regions. And really, we don't break away from that pattern. The ridge does start to move further eastward. Probably a flatter jet stream is what I would imagine is going on here. It's a bit of a ridge and then a pretty dramatic trough with that storminess there. But once that storminess moves out, we saw that storminess that was kind of located here. Once that moves out, I bet this heat is going to really move into the eastern United States for a little while. And we'll probably see the west cool down even further, but it's hard to say for certain in the longer range. That is about 10 days out, so things can change, but that seems to be what I would say is probably about to take place here at the end here of the model run. Now, for the tropical activity, we're taking a look at our cyclonic relative vorticity there, and there's going to be large-scale rotation in the atmosphere. Obviously, tropical systems tend to have large-scale rotation in the atmosphere, so the fact that we can pick that up on this, it means that this is a useful tool for us. We see a feature here move off of South America, kind of into the Caribbean here. We're going to see that take place, and then it starts to really spin in here. We're going to see it really start to spin, and then it wants to kind of move up like this. So just watch for that feature here. It's over the coming days. It's not too far out. We see it kind of spin out there near Central America, goes over land for a little bit, briefly. Then as it approaches the Yucatan Peninsula, it hits near Cozumel and Cancun there, and then enters the Gulf. Now what's interesting, this is our European model, it goes from the Yucatan Peninsula to almost impacting Texas here. If you tuned in with us a couple of days ago, it was impacting much further south here in Mexico. So what this tells me is we are seeing a north trend, and really you can't rule out an impact for anywhere in the Gulf Coast. So we're going to keep that in mind, but right now Texas seems to be a potential landing spot according to the European model, so only time will be able to fully tell. Once we take a look here at our GFS model, we see the same feature, obviously. It takes a very, very similar track here in the early portion of this, so that's good to see. We like to see that there's agreement on the models, but look at how much further south it goes here. It goes like this, whereas the European model goes much more like this. So we're seeing a huge difference in the track there, but they really take the same track back here where I'm circling. Really, it's this split right here, and then they really go far apart at that point. So over the next couple of days, there's really great agreement, and then they take different paths after that, which it could be worse, really. I've seen models fully disagree, and that's just not the case here. They do agree for the most part, and then kind of in the more medium range of the track is where things get really, really uncertain. Anyway, that's the models right now. Of course, I'm going to tune you guys in daily with all of this, so be sure to check out every video daily we upload, and we're going to be going over this every single day. Now, what we're going to do here is take a look at the National Hurricane Center. Now, here it is, the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. As you can see, over the next 5 days, we have a 30% chance of tropical development there in the southern Caribbean. Let me just check this out. So over the next 48 hours, we have a 0% chance of development. So basically what we know is that the next 5 days is the 30% chance, but it's in the last 3 days of that 5-day period when they really think that development is going to potentially take place. That's all we know at this point. We will know much more coming up soon. What we're going to do is move on and take a look at that Storm Prediction Center. Now for the day 1 categorical outlook, we have 3 general thunderstorm risks in lighter greens, and that's where we expect general thunderstorms to take place on this beautiful Monday, June 13th. We also have that darker green region up there in the kind of north central, the northeastern United States, as well as the Ohio Valley. That is where we have a marginal risk of severe weather. and we expect isolated severe weather to potentially occur up there. For the yellow regions there, for the Ohio Valley and also the north central United States, that's where we have a slight risk at severe weather, and that is where we expect scattered severe weather to take place today on Monday, like I said. For day 2, which is going to be June 14th, we have 3 general thunderstorm risks again, which again is where we expect general thunderstorms, but everything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. Not only that, we have 2 marginal risks again there in the darker greens where we expect isolated severe weather, and then we have 2 slight risk regions as well where we expect scattered severe weather to take place. Again, that's for tomorrow, June 14th. For day 3, we have 1 general thunderstorm risk there in the lighter green. We have 3 marginal risks there where we expect isolated severe weather, and then we have 1 slight risk of severe weather there for the upper Midwest where we expect scattered severe weather to potentially take place. We have 1 extended day outlook that we need to talk about here, and that's going to be for day 4, where the Ohio Valley and northeastern United States could potentially be seeing severe weather there on June 16th, which will be Thursday. In that yellow region is where we expect at least a slight risk of severe weather once that's within the next 3-day period, which will be tomorrow actually when we will be able to see that. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we are still remaining at a 4 out of 6. Once the models really agree on this tropical system, I'm going to pull it all together and we will have a higher confidence. But for now, that's just not the case yet. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Eagle, Lily Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I'd also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harlem, Alessa Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas Garys, and John Calisi also. I'd also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Steven Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.